G'day Sprue Grey Nation, welcome to the first episode of Sprue Grey TV, and today I'm looking at the Malifaux miniature from Weird Games called Sue. And I am unboxing a miniature called Sue from Malifaux, which is a Weird Miniatures game. This is an M2E version, so it's the newish version. Recently just picked it all up as part of their Black Friday specials, and I'm cutting open the box now, check on the inside, look at the miniature, dig up some cards and talk about the miniature as it comes together. Thanks for watching, and hope you get something from it. One of the things I particularly like about the Malifaux miniatures is they all ship with cards that needed to play them, so there's nothing additional in the way of rules or anything else that I need to buy. This has gone back a little way. All the rules were in the book previously. Pretty handy instructions on line card, and I've got to admit that for Sue is particularly helpful. So, as we said, Weird have been around for 10 years. They've been doing their thing, and they've been a pretty high quality product so far. See here that Sue's card is pretty clear to read. It's been a while since I've played Malifaux, so I've forgotten most of the stats. But over the back, one of my favourite, the tactical action, Ring of Fire, which does something that would be extremely funny because it's called Ring of Fire. Check out the sprue. One of the things that's evolved from Weird over time has been characteristic of having extremely fine miniatures. Very almost delicate, but if you have a look at Sue's gun, it's an example of how small it is. In the top left hand, at the top of the frame there, you can see the head is extremely small and very detailed as well. I don't know whether this is a design decision that they've made, but it's certainly making for some very interesting miniatures. One thing that did stand out was the legs, which are a two-part set, and as we go towards assembly, and as you can see, they're also quite resilient, quite heavily dropped to +6, strangely enough. But the legs particularly joined together at the waist to create something that slides into the body. Now, I pointed out the instructions earlier, and they're all online. I would highly recommend having a look at them. I'll start cutting stuff off now, and with my handy scalpel with a brand new blade in it. The miniature's fairly easy to remove from the sprue and required minimal amounts of cleaning up. A couple of extra bits of casting, but I mean that's not to be expected. Sorry, that's not unexpected. As you clip something away from a model, as you clip the model away from the sprue, even particularly given the relative fragility of this miniature, you really should cut it quite cleanly, or at least cut off a bit of excess to clean up after you've removed it from the sprue, in order to take best advantage of maintaining the detail, particularly around the back of the cloak, obviously around that hand holding the gun, and also the guitar. If you have a close look at the guitar, and I will bring up a link now, you'll see that there's flames modelled onto the top of the guitar as well. It's pretty awesome. Let's take a look at the miniature. Okay, if we take a look at Sue, and this is the assembly instructions straight from the Weird website. You'll notice it's a little bit fiddly. To join the two hips together. The bit on the far right that looks like a little bit of coat hangs off the side as well. It's assembled last. And one piece of advice I can offer you if you're assembling Sue is put the guitar on after you've slid the legs in. As we'll see later, I'm mucking around with this thing and drop the guitar in, and then have to put the legs in behind the guitar, which is extremely ugly and very fiddly. So I sped up the camera a little bit while I'm cutting this out. It's not exactly the most interesting thing in the world, much like watching paint dry. But towards the end there is a point that I do want to make about cleaning these things up. So it's a fairly simple process. of gently removing the bits from the sprue. The head here, I'm particularly trying to cut a bit of extra sprue off so I can snap the head out without doing any damage to the actual miniature. This model is extremely fine, as with a lot of the weird stuff these days, and so when the opportunity presents itself, clip more than clip less. I know I'm do as I do, as not as I say in some of these parts, but the opportunity to cut back sprue from the removed model is a lot better than not removing enough sprue and doing damage to the model as part of the removal. So there's a warning there to be had for, in fact, even experienced players, not just new players. As you can see, there's minimal cleaning up that had to be done, just light scraping to remove a few extra bits of sprue. But here, hopefully you can see that the head has that extra sprue on it. It does not fit in the neck, so I need to trim it back of extra sprue. And then it makes a fine fit into the neck part that it fits into. Favorite part, which is the contact cement. The plastic glue stuff is gold, mostly for that nozzle. Very small, slow release. It means the glue goes exactly where you want it to. You can see that the head fits directly into the shoulders, much as it's supposed to, and here's where I make my mistake. Dry fitting the guitar is not a bad idea because it's a little bit strange how it fits onto the hand. It fits cleanly, but it's best to test it first. When in place, it completely covers that chest cavity as well, so you don't even know it's there, which is cool. So now, after I've tested it, make sure it's all clean, whack down some plastic glue, a little bit on the hand, on the chest cavity, and here's where we make our first mistake. It fits beautifully. Oh, that's so good. But now, I've got to try and fit those legs in underneath where that guitar is. This is a mistake. Turn the miniature over, check it out. Legs, yep, not a problem. Little ball and socket joint, they fit together beautifully. Whack some glue in the socket. Join them up. Nice tight bond. No gap, no discernible gap there. Now whack some glue on, and it doesn't fit behind the guitar. So get a little bit frustrated, say a couple of grown-up words, pull the whole thing apart, and finally realise you have to leverage that guitar off. This is one of the more forgiving aspects, I guess, the plastic. The contact cement doesn't dry immediately, so it is possible to leverage the guitar off, push the legs into place, stick your finger to the miniature, and then put the guitar back on. But then the downside, I'd say, is that it is a little bit unclear how it fits together. But after that, as you can see, the sewer's ready to go, and in a very, very blurry shot, sewer's assembled and ready to rock. He's an outcast, so from memory, the outcasts were all mercenaries, certainly Killjoy was from the old days. So I don't mind whether he can play for Gremlins or not. In all honesty, this is a brilliant looking miniature. You can see the guitar strap over his back when you have a look at it. The flames on the guitar, the detail of the face. it's yeah, this is a spectacular piece of plastic when it all goes together. And again, plastic, seriously one of my favorite mediums to work with. Assembly is easy, it's very forgiving, and it's very strong when you use a contact cement. Effectively, it melts the plastic to create the bond, so as it dries, it joins almost permanently, which is kind of cool too. So from there we have one assembled Sprue. So what did I think of the miniature? I've got a little Malifaux miniatures, particularly the 1E stuff Gremlins. I've had a Rezz's crew, and they're all a lot more exaggerated, I feel. The details were pretty amazing, the miniatures themselves were very characterful, but this new plastic Sprue is a step above. This thing is amazing. It's amazingly detailed, very fine, without sort of obscuring any of the details, or skimping on details, and full credit goes to the guys from Weird for this sculpt, because it is phenomenal. If you're an Outcast player, if only for the miniature, if you're a collector, this is totally worth it. Sprue is an amazing figure. Thank you for joining me for episode 1 of Sprue Grey TV. I really enjoyed pulling apart Sprue as a Christmas present to myself via Black Friday. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I will see you around for episode 2.